All right, now the official funeral of ANC Women's League Deputy President Lungi Mnganga-Gcabashe is about to get underway in Durban. Mnganga-Gcabashe, of course, passing away last Saturday at the age of 64, set to be laid to rest today. President Cyril Ramaphosa expected to deliver that eulogy. Nobuhle Modise out in Durban then for us and joining us live for this then as well. Just a little bit earlier, we're detailing the life and times of Lungi Mnganga-Gcabashe there, Nobuhle, with Togo Didiza. And I suppose it's solemn moments like these where the remembrance of the work they've all done matters most.
Indeed, Arabile, we are expecting things to kick off any time now, but there have been a number of arrivals, just a number of people arriving. I even managed to catch up with Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma just to speak to her about, the time when she left for the AU while being a chairperson of the Women's League here in the province. And at that time, Gcabashe was the one who took over that role for about 2 years. And, just speaking about that moment and what, contribution she gave here in the KwaZulu-Natal province in terms of the Women's League. But I want to bring into the conversation someone who's made the news this week, the Cosatu Zingiswa Losi. Firstly, I want to speak to her around the memory of Mam Gcabashe before we discuss other things. I mean, how will you remember her?
Thank you very much. Sis Lungi, she was what you call a revolutionary. She was not just a woman that was in the corridors of power and wanted to then consume that power. She understood that she's a servant of the people. She was always on issues that are affecting women and the working class largely. A peacemaker, a humble leader. And this is the reflection that we're making here today, is to say, are we indeed, when we look at the work that she's doing, and we are saying indeed she was a revolutionary, and at the rebirth of the ANC, the renewal of the alliance, are we finding ourselves in those characters that she embodied? And we are here to say, as we reflect, we don't want to say we are taking on her spear, but we must be able to say, this is what Sis Lungi was about, and if we are to renew ourselves, if the ANC and the entire movement, the Women's League, is to really lead the people of South Africa and address the triple challenges, but in particularly the gender-based violence that we see and the femicide rate that is projected to our people, would we be doing it in the spirit and in honor of Sis Lungi? This that we're here to say our goodbyes to was a true leader, umama, isikukukazi, not just to her children, not just to the members of the Women's League, but to the broader society. She represented the voice of the voiceless, the people of KwaMashu, omama bethu, ezilalini. She was that voice in the corridors of power, but she never became powerful in the sense that she wanted what came with power, but she was powerful in the voice, projecting the voice of the voiceless in the corridors of power.
And Zingiswa, without sounding like I'm not reading the room, I know what you are here for, but you've made, headlines this week because you were in that room holding a very important conversation. And some of the things you speak of now are some of the things you mentioned, when you were at the Oval Office. How did it feel at that time, number one, to watch that video and the response that you gave when you were given the platform to speak?
That was a very humbling experience, I must say. It was not scripted. I had no expectation of speaking. We were a delegation that was with the president. But when the president gave me an opportunity, I would say the thing that came to my mind, especially when we were shown the video and the denial from President Trump that there is no genocide in South Africa, for me it hit very hard that the black person, the black woman is not counted for anything here. And some people say I went very far to stretch it, to really put it for what it is. But I thought that was the moment to say to President Trump, this is not about white people. We are dealing with the majority of South Africans who are black, who are excluded from the economy, who are at the periphery of economy of development in South Africa, who are dying in majority every day. Black women who are going through the worst in our economy based on their race, based on their gender, and we are here being made to first debate whether there's genocide or not. And we're supposed to be talking about trade issues that should be able to tilt the scales and say the minority is holding over 70% of our economy and they are the ones that are crying, and you are minimizing what the majority of South Africans, women in particular, are going through. Exclusion from the economy, but also being the ones that are beaten every day, that are at the receiving end of that inequality, because they become victims of gender-based violence.
Thank you very much, Zingiswa. We appreciate this very much. That is Zingiswa Losi, who is from Cosatu, and I took the opportunity to just ask her about that moment that we saw earlier this week. But it does seem as though this particular program that I am here for is about to start. As you can see, many of the guests have arrived here. We see Banyaza Lesufi is here as well. We've also seen the former Premier of the province, Sihle Zingelala. As I mentioned to you, Mamkosazana Dlamini Zuma is also here in attendance. We also have the Minister of Police here, Senzo Mapunu, and you can see the ANC's Sponiso Duma also here. A number of guests who have come to bid farewell to Mnganga-Gcabashe, and it's just a very somber moment where many of them are choosing to celebrate her life. Regarding that death that happened over the weekend on Saturday. As you can see there, Begitale, who was also at that memorial service on Friday, is here as well. Lindiwe Sisulu also in attendance. So a number of the ANC bigwigs are here. The NEC is here as well. And the program is meant to start any time from now. We are waiting for the body to make its way into the hall here at the Inkosi Albert Lutuli International Convention Center, Arabi.